Did you know Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before he ever succeeded? The Wright brothers failed over and over again while people said human flight is impossible. They didn't start Microsoft as the world's biggest tech company. He spent years writing codes when no one knew his name. Jeff Bezos operated Amazon at a loss for years, and mind you, he started in his garage. Usain Bolt wasn't always the fastest man in the world. He lost races. There were injuries, disappointment, and season when he didn't win. Guess what they told him? They said he's too tall to sprint. The Williams sisters faced racism and rejection. So, this is the part you don't want to hear. These people did not succeed because they were the most intelligent people in the world, or because they were the best in the room, or because success comes easy to them. It's one thing that they all have in common, and it's this: consistency. These people showed up when it was boring. They still showed up when things were not working for them. Even when the whole world wasn't taking notice of what they were doing, they still kept at it. And that is one trait we all have to imbibe if we want to succeed. You have to keep showing up regardless of what's happening around you, regardless of if people are noticing like what you're doing, or whether it's even working out at that moment. You still just keep showing up. These people took one step at a time. Even when success was not in the horizon yet, they still showed up towards where they were working for. And that raises the question: what if the thing holding you back in life is not your lack of talent or luck, but your inability to consistently show up for the things that you're working on? Now, this is what you're going to do. Step 1, reality check. You need to understand where you are for you to get to where you are going. Regardless of where you are, you don't need perfection to start, but you need consistency to move towards your goal. Waiting to be perfect delays your progress and it kills your momentum. This was Amazon's website 20 something years ago, and this is their current website. And when it comes to Google, their first website was just a logo and a search bar. And let's talk about Nike. Their shoes from 20 something years ago is way different from what it is today. So whatever result you're admiring on people right now, it started as something unfinished years ago. They didn't set out this way then, they just improved along the way. So have you noticed the pattern of things not starting out right, things innovating as they go on, but at least what matters is that they showed up at first. They didn't wait until things were perfect before showing up. And that's one thing you have to learn today, is that regardless of what your current situation is, you have to show up. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect or before you move towards achieving your goal. Start where you are right now. It's okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay for things to not be perfect. But one thing we should always count on you for is consistency. We should have faith that you will show up regardless of what happens. Next, define your vision. This is very important. How many times have you met people who want to improve something, or they want something to change in their life, but they can't tell you like, this is what I want to change? It's just like, oh, I want something to change, or I want to do something different, but they can't tell you what they want to do differently. That's a wrong approach. Let's take, for instance, Thomas Edison. He had a clear vision of what he wanted to do. He wanted to invent electricity at a time where it was non-existent. So everything he was doing at that time was working towards that goal, which is inventing electricity. Sometimes people say, I want something to improve in my life, and they can't pinpoint the exact thing they want to improve. Sometimes people just say, oh, I want to start a business. They have no clear vision of the kind of business they want. All they know is they want a business, and then they wonder why they fail. Obviously, if you have no vision, there's nothing to work towards. And that's why I always say, define the vision. What exactly do you want to do? In fact, whenever you're asked in one line, you should be able to explain the exact thing that you are gunning for. So if you're struggling at this point, figuring out what you want to do, I'll just encourage you to sit down and figure out the exact thing you want to improve in your life. What is that thing you want to design your life around? Let's take the Wright brothers, for example. The Wright brothers had a vision. They wanted to make human flight possible, and everything they did was working towards that single vision. So that's why I always say that having the vision first is the most important step, because we need to know what exactly are we working towards. The next step is break it down into smaller steps. At this point, you already have a vision of what you want to do. Now we're going to break it down into smaller steps that will help us get to that place. Let's say, for instance, you want to go to Walmart or Tesco to shop. What are the steps towards that goal? Perhaps the first one will be, oh, you need to take a shower first, and then you need to make a list of the things you want to buy, and then you need to drive to the place to buy it, and then you need to put them in your back seat and then drive home. Going to Walmart is a vision, but then you have the smaller steps that will help you achieve that goal. Does that make sense? For instance, when Edison wanted to invent electricity, he tested filaments over and over again until he figured out which one works. So he didn't rush straight into, oh, let's start formulating the bulb and the casing and all this and all that. He had the smaller steps, the things that move the pin forward. Those are the things that he did first, the things that will help him to achieve the goal that he was gunning for. He went for those things first. And that's how you should always go about the things you want to achieve. You already have the big goal, which is a vision you want to achieve, but then there are smaller steps that help you get to that place. So today I will encourage you to start inculcating the smaller habits that leads you towards your bigger goal. You want to get a degree, What are the habits you need to change right now in order for you to achieve that bigger goal? Let's say, for instance, you want to start a business. What are the smaller steps that will lead you towards that goal of having that $1 million business? It could be that right now you need to start your research, you need to start looking for suppliers, you need to start observing your competitors. Those are the things that move you towards that goal. So instead of just saying, well, I want to start this $1 million business, perhaps you should start right now to break down the steps that lead you to that goal. What are the things you need to do right now in order for that goal to be a reality? The next one is building small daily habits. What are the micro steps you can take today towards achieving that bigger goal? There's this saying that small drops of water makes an ocean. The problem I see when people say that they want to achieve something huge is that they make no changes to the habits that they have. In order for your vision to become a reality, I want you to know this one thing. Things have to change in your life. Your daily habits have to change towards achieving those goals. I have a foolproof way of knowing if someone is going to succeed or not. And that is, I check their daily habits and then see how that aligns with where they're going. Your daily habit is a good pointer to whether you're going to succeed in something or not. Again, I'm going to use Edison as an example. He showed up consistently every single day, regardless of what happened yesterday. And mind you, he failed thousands of times. It means that he shows up today and it doesn't work out, and then he shows up tomorrow. And that's because he made it a daily habit to show up regardless of how he was feeling, regardless of what's happening around him. He showed up every day, and that was just the habits that he had. So I will encourage you that whenever you want to do something, show up for yourself consistently, regardless of what happened yesterday, regardless of how you're feeling. And I'll give you a tip that helps me. Focus on 1 or 2 habits at a time. Say, for instance, focus on waking up early and focus on your phone usage. That should be the first 2, actually. With the way the world is going right now, those are the first 2 I will always encourage you to focus on: waking up early and controlling your phone usage. If you're the type that scrolls on your phone until, say, like midnight, and then you go to bed late and then you wake up late, I'll say focus on fixing that habit right now. Next one is mindset and resilience. Let me give you a secret to success that I've discovered. Only resilient people succeed in life. If you're the type to give up after one trial, I think you're doing life wrong. And let me tell you why that's a problem. The thing that has helped me show up regardless of how many times I've failed is the mindset I have around failure. In the past, I used to see failure as failure. Yeah, like I failed at that. But then I had to rewire my mind to think of failure as just the lessons on the way. And Edison put this correctly. He'd say, I did not fail 10,000 times. I just found 10,000 ways not to do something. And that's such a good mindset to have if you're going to be resilient or if you're going to be successful. When you fail at something, don't see it as you are a failure. See it almost like, oh, I've learned another way not to do it. Success is never straightforward. I want you to rethink the way you see failure. It's not very common that people try something once and it succeeds. Failure is more common than success. Because one thing I can assure you is that you will always encounter failure before you get to the thing that you want. And that's why a mindset shift is very important when you encounter failure. Don't see failure as, oh, I failed at this thing. It means I'm not good enough for it. It just means that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to get to it. I want you to stop internalizing failure. Stop seeing failing at things as you being a failure. Rather see it as, I just discovered another way not to do it. It doesn't mean that you are bad at it. It doesn't mean that you are a complete failure and you are good for nothing. It just means it didn't work out. Don't internalize those failures. Again, look at the Wright brothers who invented airplanes. They failed so many times before they ever got the prototype that was able to fly. Imagine if they gave up the first 100 times that they failed. We might never know what it's like to have airplanes today, but they had that vision and they went for it regardless of the failure on the way. So always expect failure. In fact, the way I like to think is, if I expect failure when it happens, it doesn't pull me down that much. The next one is track your progress and celebrate your small wins. I want you to make it a habit of tracking the progress that you make in things. I guess sometimes the progress that we make are so negligible that you almost despise it or you don't take it that serious. I want you to make the habit of celebrating the small wins that you have at something. Let's say, for instance, you want to start a business and now you're doing the market research. By the time you're done with that, I want you to sit down and actually celebrate the fact that you are past this hurdle. You've accomplished one thing that helps you towards your goal. Don't wait until you achieve the vision before you start celebrating, because that might take you years. Make the habit of celebrating the small things. The fact that you showed up today is something to be celebrated, because every single step that you take is a stride towards the bigger goal or the bigger vision that you have in mind. The next one is keep going. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. I want you to promise yourself this day that the things you want to do, you are going to keep going at it no matter what. Regardless of what happens to you, regardless of the problem you encounter on the way or the failures, you have to keep going. Promise yourself that nothing will stop you from achieving your goals. That's one way that I've been able to achieve anything I've set my mind to do. I tell myself, regardless of how many times I fail, I am going to keep showing up. Now, mind you, I give myself time to cry over things. Sometimes failure pushes you down so much. So when I fail at things, I give myself time to grieve and cry over that thing. But then I still show up. It's not the end of the road for me. Imagine what the world would look like if Edison gave up on his goal. Imagine if the Wright brothers gave up on their goal. Jeff Bezos gave up. Bill Gates gave up. The vision that you have, I want you to see that the world cannot do without you. Now, how would you turn up up if the entire world is waiting for you? Say for instance, if you look outside your window right now and the entire world is waiting on you to develop this single thing that you've been working on, would you go about it differently? Would you show up differently? Would you be more resilient? Until you get to that vision, you are not there yet.